How are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. So, did you have to do the interview because you were the only one that was not in pain still?
No, actually, it was only me and James that really went out last night, but I'm one of the lucky ones, and I never really get hangovers. So James woke up and he was like, oh shit, I'm really, really dead. And I woke up, I was like, oh, don't worry, dude, I'll do it, I'm fine. So I just had a quick 5-minute shower and good to go.
Excellent. So you do realize, of course, that now that you've said that you don't really get hangovers, you've damned yourself, and for the rest of your tour, you're going to feel hungover.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I've just completely screwed my life up, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So other than, oversleeping a little bit, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. We're having a great time on the tour. We played, I'm just trying to think where the hell we are. Chicago, there we are. I'll never remember where we are, that's my curse. But no, we played Chicago last night, and it was one of the best shows, to be honest. The stage sound was incredible. The sound out front was great. The sound guys actually gave a toss, and our label were there, management were there. It was just a really good night.
Excellent. That's very good to hear. I'm sure that, especially for a band whose music is so intricate, that having a good sound guy who actually cares means a whole lot.
It makes the difference between a good show and a bad show. For us, like in terms of stage sound, because you can never really tell what's going on out front. If there's a sound guy that doesn't care, we have a terrible show, and it sometimes doesn't translate to the crowd, because you still get people coming up to you going, "Oh wow, that was amazing," and being really complimentary, which is nice. But on stage, just the energy just drops. You can't hear or feel. Just like things like the kick drum, that's an important thing. If you can't feel that, you've got very little to go on, and it just feels sloppy on stage. And we've been quite lucky on this tour to have a few decent line checks, but essentially we're still opening on this tour, so we're at the bottom of the bill. People don't always care, but no, some of the songs have been fantastic, and the sound guys have been great, and we get a really good night out of it as a result.
Awesome. That's good to hear. How was you guys did a pretty long trek across Canada before heading down into the States. How was that for you?
That was good. It was really good. We'd not really been that high up, because we went up to a place called Thunder Bay, which is, like, as far as we're concerned, quite north. And it was cold. It was real cold. We saw snow up there that we'd never seen as high as that before. It was much higher than some houses that was back in the UK. It was ridiculous.
Right.
But no, we had a really good time. The crowds were great. We got to see a lot of places that none of us have been to before. And I think we're actually heading back up to Ontario to sort of complete the lap of the US. We've got a few more shows at the end of the tour. I can't wait to get back to it. It's just going to be nice.
Excellent. Yeah, it looks like, just looking here, it looks like you've got about a week of shows right in and around the Southern Ontario area, so you don't have to do the big treks. Yeah, luckily the big treks are just about done with now. Some of them have been ridiculous, and we've been quite unlucky because our van has been breaking down, so we've had a few fails, but no, some of the treks have been totally crazy. We went from Dallas, I think it was Dallas, to Orlando, and that was a long drive. That was like, we woke up at like 10 in the morning, or left the motel at 10 in the morning, and got to the next motel at 6 the following morning, and that was just driving all day. And there's nothing like that in the UK. That's like the main difference between touring the UK and touring the States, is that you can drive all day in the States and not be out of the state. Whereas in the UK, you can drive all day and be from one end of the country to the other and halfway back again. Right. But yeah, it's been good. It's an experience on the road. Excellent. Now, how has the response been with the crowds? I know that the protest crowds are probably quite a bit different than the Devin Townsend Project crowds.
Oh yeah, well, the main difference is these crowds are girls.
the Devon tour, there was a lot of guys on the Devon tour. It was a bit of a sausage tour, we sort of called it. No, it's great. I mean, the response has been fantastic. We're just opening our door to a lot of new fans, and it's just been great. There's not a massive difference in terms of the actual response people are giving us. It's all just very positive. People just haven't heard the music before coming up to us and genuinely being really excited, and people that have just heard about it, like when the album came out, just super excited about it. In fact, one guy, I can't remember which show it was at, but he came up to us and he'd only heard of the band a month ago, and he'd gone out and got a TesseracT tattoo. He'd got like the TesseracT shaped tattoo on his arm, and we're like, oh my god, that's crazy, man. But no, it's really positive, and it's a sign for us that we're not delusional, and that hopefully we're doing something right.
Does a fan like that kind of worry you in terms of, not necessarily in terms of you're going to get home and find him in your bedroom or anything, but that he's gonna, your next album, you don't want to let that kind of fan down?
No, to be honest, it's kind of a flattering thing that people are that passionate about it to do it. I mean, I personally don't have any tattoos or anything like that. Someone would have to think really long and hard about it. To think that someone can make maybe a snap decision and just go out and do something as big as that, because they're going to be stuck with that for life. It's quite an honourable thing, I guess. But no, I mean, for album 2, we kind of, because we're working hard on it at the moment, we realise, we're up against the clock, because it takes quite a long time to write this stuff.
Right.
We sort of do, similar to album 1, we just sort of screwing up the rule book of what's expected and doing exactly what we want to do again. The first album, people were kind of expecting, I guess, a typical genty sound, like the genre that we're being pigeonholed as. It's got sort of a guitar sound that people are expecting to have. And when we went to the studio, we were sort of like, well, that doesn't necessarily work for us. We want it to sound how we want it to sound, and that's exactly what we're doing with album 2. And the songs have evolved again. All of the stuff on the first album, with the exception of some of the later songs on there, are kind of old songs. Like some of the Consuming Fate sort of suite was written before I joined the band in 2005, so that gives you an indication of how long we've been playing it and how old the songs are. But no, we're really excited about album 2, and I can't wait for people to hear it. Hopefully, come 2012, when hopefully it'll be out.
Excellent. Now, talking about trying to throw away the rule book and that sort of thing, we're not going to hear a TesseracT glam record.
Maybe not that extreme. No, I think we're open to new ideas, and we're all listen to a lot of different music and take a lot of influence from just people we meet, bands we meet, films we watch, places we visit. All of these things inspire the music, and it's great to have the opportunity to do everything that we do, and meet all the